Some infections like chickenpox usually only make you sick once, or you only get vaccinated for chickenpox once. But then when we think of other infections like the flu or COVID, like coronaviruses, they can infect you over and over again. And the reason for this difference is because of something called adaptive immunity. So in our immune system, there's innate immunity and there is adaptive immunity. Adaptive immunity is the part of our immune system that learns from past infections and protects us in the future. It's different than innate immunity. Innate immunity responds quickly. Adaptive immunity remembers every pathogen or every microbe it encounters. So the way that it works is adaptive immunity is this specialized memory-based part of our immune system. So there's innate and adaptive, and this is the memory-based part. It's slower to respond the first time that it sees a virus or bacteria or any other pathogen. But once you get infected, it learns from that microbe and it provides long-term protection. So this is the system for the reason why vaccines work, and it makes sure that you don't get sick from the same virus twice. But then there's a question of why does chickenpox usually give you lifelong immunity while the flu or COVID doesn't? You can have COVID multiple times, as a lot of us know. So some viruses don't change much over time, meaning that once your immune system has seen them and it learns to fight them, it can respond quickly in the future. So that's why chickenpox typically doesn't return, because the virus that causes chickenpox doesn't change or it doesn't mutate much. Other viruses like the flu or coronaviruses mutate a lot, changing their structure so much that your immune system has trouble recognizing them again. That's why you need a new flu shot every year. So it's like retraining the immune system for a newer version of the virus. Now, when we look at adaptive immunity, it itself is split into two parts of adaptive immunity. There's humoral immunity, which is controlled by a type of white blood cell called B cells, which makes antibodies. And this fights infections in blood and in body fluids. And there's cellular immunity, which is controlled by a type of white blood cell called T cells, which fights infections inside cells. So these two systems work together to control infections and also prevent reinfection. Talking about humoral immunity, which is controlled by a type of white blood cell called a lymphocyte, specifically called a B cell, and there's antibodies involved. So humoral immunity is all about B cells and antibodies, which basically act in the blood and our body fluids to stop infections before they enter cells. So when the white blood cell, when B cells detect a virus or a bacterium, it produces antibodies. So there's a type of B cell called plasma cells that produces antibodies. And the reason why antibodies are good is they neutralize microbes by preventing them from infecting other cells. And they also tag them for destruction to signal other immune cells to attack. So once the infection is gone, some B cells turn into memory B cells, and they stay in your body for years, even sometimes decades, and they're ready to fight the same pathogen if it ever returns. And this is one reason why vaccines work. So vaccines expose your immune system to a harmless version of a pathogen or parts of a pathogen, and it allows your body to create memory B cells without making you sick. So that's humoral immunity. Next is cellular immunity. Cellular immunity is controlled by a type of white blood cell called a lymphocyte, called a T cell. So T cells are a type of lymphocyte. It's a type of white blood cell, and T cells directly fight infections inside infected cells. There's two main types of T cells. There's helper T cells and there's killer T cells. Helper T cells act like these kind of like commanders that signal B cells and macrophages and other immune cells to respond. So they help turn on your immune system. Killer T cells, which are also called cytotoxic T cells, destroy virus-infected cells or cancerous cells, and they prevent infections from spreading. So after an infection, some T cells also become memory T cells so that there's a faster response if your body ever sees the same microbe, the same pathogen. So why does this all matter? The reason why this matters is adaptive immunity is your body's defense that learns, remembers, and improves over time. That's why little kids, like babies and 1-year-olds, get sick a lot because they haven't built their adaptive immunity. And in adaptive immunity, there's humoral immunity, which has to do with B cells and antibodies that fights infections in our blood and in fluids. And there's cellular immunity, which has to do with T cells that fights infection inside cells. So this system is the reason why some diseases never come back after one infection, while others, like the flu, require constant immunity. So you're either taking the vaccine multiple times or getting sick by various strains. So this is your immune system that gets stronger over time, and it makes repeat infections less severe or even non-existent.